America. They want someone to love. But they want someone to hate.
She was an underdog to me, and I find that very easy. I love gangster films, and I love seeing someone rise to the top despite their circumstances, and Tonya's story felt like that to me.
I love that, you know, for you know, a film that we actually approach in a documentary style in the sense that it's an audience participation. You watch a documentary and you have to figure out what the truth is. You see these interviews and you see people talking, and as humans we have to look for those tells of like, are they lying, are they telling the truth? So they had to bring it as performers, to that sort of that nuance of like, you know, how much of this is truth right now, but as an audience you get to decide, and I love that it's an active experience.
I interviewed Tonya Harding and I interviewed Jeff Gillespie. And nobody asked me to. I just did it myself. No one was paying me. And once I did, I found that their stories were so wildly contradictory that I thought, well, that's what I'll do. I'll put everybody's story up there and let the audience decide what's what. It just seemed like it was a really funny story. It was a really crazy story. It was a really tragic story. And it was true depending on whose point of view you believed, you know. And in terms of the structure of it, I just wanted to be very rebellious and wrong-headed, because all of the characters were very wrong-headed and rebellious. So I wanted to include all those things that people say you can't do in a screenplay, like break the fourth wall. And at one point, Allison Janney's character criticizes the screenplay and complains that her storyline is disappearing, you know. And it doesn't make sense, and it is unconventional, but it works because it mirrors all of the main characters.
I'm very excited. Yeah, it's a story that in skating we've heard so many times. So I'm really interested to see how it's really shown to us and what they want to tell us.
Yeah, definitely. It's now I know what some of the words are, like triple axles. I'm well excited.
She trained for 5 months for this. Seriously, like I gave, as soon as we got the job, I storyboarded all of these skating sequences and I sent them to Margot's skating trainer, Sarah Carhara, and her. And they just started breaking it down and working on all the moves they could do. There's a lot of stuff they obviously can't do because of the jumps and the Olympic. Once you get to that speed and that energy and that strength, it's 20 years of training. But all the dance moves and the high kicks, which to make that look like she's been on the ice for 20 years, I think she did an amazing job.
It was amazing to watch her because she's very low maintenance, no fuss. And she, you know, so she would really just show up super prepared. She would modulate her voice depending on what age she was. She would modulate how sort of physically defensive she would be depending on what age she was. But we were a very independent, small-budgeted movie. We did not have a lot of money. So we did not shoot in order. And there were scenes where she was doing 4 different ages. And she would modulate everything. But she did it with such apparent ease. It could not be easy. And with no fuss that I didn't realize until I saw the whole movie. Like, holy cow, look what she's doing. And was a producer on the movie. She would do a scene with the Tonya Harding accent. They would say cut. She would talk about the music cues and this and that with her Australian accent. They would say, we need you on set. She would go right back. No fuss. She's pretty amazing.
It's an amazing show of solidarity. It felt very different, the Globes this year, knowing that we had a new purpose for being there and dressing up, and it felt very important, and there was a really lovely sense of community in the room, actually. Yeah, and I'm very grateful that I get to wear designer gowns and you know, be open to that kind of stuff. It's lovely. It's not something I'd ever encounter in my life usually, but it is nice to kind of find a bit of perspective and put priorities in order.
We had a moment where we got to meet each other for the first time, and it was very quick with very few questions.
Yeah, it's hard, and I think I'm still learning how he deals with certain things, and he's still learning how I deal with certain things under pressure. And that's the main thing is, you know, we didn't really have time to sit down and have a coffee. We've still not had a time to sit down and have a coffee. You know, I've been really busy with work, and we have just literally been thrown into it. And we've just worked together, haven't we? And one thing we're so on the same page with is we want to do our best.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
We take the time that we get, and as Brooke just said, we want to make it the best that we can. So no matter whether she has work, no matter whether I have work, you know, we still make use of the little amount of time that we have, and we put out there every week something that I'm really proud of her for. You know, she gets out there every day, little time, puts the hard work in, gives me everything that I want.
Couple injuries, yeah, but totally worth it to play this role, yeah.
She actually did. It was sort of this, she ended up hurting her neck a little bit, not specifically, but I think from just the constant, stress of being on the ice and the training. She trained 4 days a week for 5 months. So she was dealing with that as well. I think she was getting a lot of massages and stuff, but she took all of that responsibility on herself. And it was done sort of separately. Even when she was down in Australia at Christmas, 2 weeks before we were shooting, she found a rink in Australia and was going there on Christmas Eve and training, and yeah, she was on it.
You have your feet. Don't get me wrong. You think, oh my God, what if I fall? What if I break this? What if I break that? But we fall all the time. They mess about all the time. I fall all the time, don't I? And then today we fell together, and his blade was so close. I was like, ah! But yeah, it's fine. We'll get there.
Try to put that out of our mind. It's like, it was a huge discussion though. Do we do it first? Do we do it last? What happens if she, and then you're just like, let's just, we did shoot it first, and luckily we all got through it and got to move on.
It was new, and I really don't know anything. I watched the footage and tried to describe it. I could not tell you a triple sow cow from a triple axel.
It wouldn't work otherwise, and it was something, even obviously, with Tonya's character, it was really important to us that we show the emotional and physical abuse that she went through. That was more paramount than any kind of humor or entertainment in a way. It's like to understand why she is who she is, and the defensiveness that she has when you see her in interviews, and that chip that she has on her shoulder when you see her sometimes. This explains it in a way, and I think hopefully gives you empathy. With Lavana's character, it was a little more tricky because she's pretty tough on the page. But Allison, we would talk about it and be like, she took her to practice every morning at 5:30. She was doing 2 jobs. She felt she was doing the right thing. So, we sort of try to approach everybody with from their point of view.
Anyone born after 1990 like me, I didn't know this story, and I still found it so fascinating because it does touch on so many themes that are weirdly, ironically, and sadly relevant right now. How we view women, how we consume media, what our perception of truth is, the disenfranchised, America particularly, and the class divide right now. All of those things are very relevant, and in fact we didn't even really realize when starting this project how timely it would be.
It was 2 things. It was obviously Margot. That idea of her playing Tonya Harding was so intriguing, and I loved, because she's such a great dance between humor and drama. It's such a tricky thing to be able to do, and I feel like a lot of actors can't do that and still keep it grounded in character. And then the script was outlandish. I mean, I'd never read a script like this before. It was all over the map, and in the best way, and I couldn't even find a reference for it.
I never wanted to say anyone was the hero or anybody was the villain. I wanted to say these people were human, and their stories were told without any nuance at all. And so I just wanted to give them that because I felt like they were all reduced to a punchline, and they're just human, like everybody else. But I felt like the story was really funny. I was very concerned about what they would think when it was over. Tonya, she saw it with her husband, and she said that she laughed and she cried and she liked some of it and she did not like some of it, mainly the stuff that came from Jeff's point of view. And when Jeff saw it, I was very concerned because he says he never hit her, and in the movie, he says he doesn't hit her, but he also hits her because that's what she says happened. And he said he saw it and he was like, I loved it. He said, I liked it way better than Hope Floats, which is another movie I wrote. I was like, me too.
It's funny. We showed it to her. She didn't get to see it till 2 weeks before Toronto, and she actually said she was happy that her side of the story. It was really important to her that her version got told. She knew there would be Jeff's version and other points of view, but that her side of the story was heard. And so I think ultimately she was happy with how she was portrayed. I hope, and the goal of it was that by the time you get to her at Lillehammer, you have empathy for just what she's been through in her life and the physical and emotional abuse that the toll that she's had, and what she's had to fight for, and what she's been surrounded by. That was sort of the goal of the film, to have you look at her as a human being and not as a punchline.
What's special about Dancing on Ice? Do you know what? For me, I stopped smoking to come and do this show, and that's like a massive accomplishment for me. So I'm just taking that and I'm running with it, and if I win, I win. If I don't, then I stop smoking.
That's still a win.
Yeah,
it's a win-win,
exactly.
This is a really special experience. I mean, to be able to share my passion with all these new people. That's what really matters to me.
I think that they're going to get a really funny story, a really tragic story, a really true story that's just framed in a whole lot of crazy and told in hopefully a very unique way that's well acted and well directed.
There's no such thing as truth. I mean, it's bullshit.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.